My 28mm wife, 27F, hired her sister to test my loyalty. I'm at a loss. I met my wife Sarah when we were both 22. We were introduced by mutual friends at a local bar called the Rusty Nail. It was a Friday night, and I remember the place was packed. I almost didn't go out that night. I had a big project due at work the following Monday, but my roommate Jack convinced me I needed a break. I spotted Sarah across the room, laughing with a group of friends. She had this infectious laugh that carried over the noise of the bar. Our eyes met, and she gave me a smile that made my heart skip a beat. I gathered up the courage to walk over and introduce myself. We hit it off immediately, bonding over our shared love of indie music and horror movies. Sarah told me about her job as a junior graphic designer at a local advertising firm. I shared stories about my work in software development. We talked for hours, barely noticing as the bar emptied around us. Our relationship progressed quickly after that night. Within 6 months, we were living together in a small apartment downtown. It was a third-floor walk-up with creaky floors and a temperamental radiator, but it was ours. Those early days were filled with late-night conversations, impromptu dance parties in our living room, and weekend road trips to nearby cities. Sarah was spontaneous and full of life, always pushing me out of my comfort zone in the best ways. She convinced me to try salsa dancing classes, despite my 2 left feet. We'd spend Sundays exploring different neighborhoods in the city, trying out hole-in-the-wall restaurants and quirky boutiques. 2 years into our relationship, I proposed during a hike in the mountains. It was Sarah's favorite spot, a clearing that overlooked the valley below. We'd discovered it on one of our first camping trips together. I packed a picnic lunch and hid the ring in the basket. When we reached the clearing, I got down on one knee and asked her to spend the rest of her life with me. She said yes, and we spent the rest of the day planning our future together. The wedding was a small affair, just close friends and family. We held it in Sarah's parents' backyard, stringing fairy lights between the trees. Sarah's sister, Emma, 25F, was her maid of honor. I'd always gotten along well with Emma. She was quieter than Sarah, but had the same wit and charm. I remember the moment Sarah walked down the aisle. She wore a simple white dress and carried a bouquet of wildflowers. She looked radiant, and I couldn't believe how lucky I was. We wrote our own vows, promising to always support each other's dreams and to face life's challenges together. After the wedding, Emma became a regular fixture in our lives, often joining us for dinner or movie nights. She lived just a few blocks away from us and would often pop over unannounced, bringing leftover baked goods from the bakery where she worked. The first year of marriage was blissful. We settled into a comfortable routine, balancing our careers with our time together. Sarah had been promoted to lead designer at her firm, while I had just started a new job at a tech startup. We were both ambitious and supported each other's goals. We'd often spend evenings bouncing ideas off each other or helping each other prepare for big presentations. We talked about starting a family, agreeing to wait a few years until we were more established in our careers. In the meantime, we adopted a rescue dog named Max, a scruffy terrier mix who quickly became the center of our world. Things started to change about 18 months into our marriage. Sarah began working late more often, citing a big project at work. At first, I didn't think much of it. We were both career-driven, and I understood the demands of her job. But as the weeks went by, I noticed other changes. Sarah became more distant. Our conversations, once filled with laughter and inside jokes, became stilted and forced. She stopped initiating physical affection, and when I tried to kiss her or hold her hand, she'd often pull away. Even Max seemed to sense the tension, often looking between us with confused eyes. I tried talking to her about it, but she'd brush off my concerns, saying she was just stressed about work. I offered to help with housework or take Max for extra walks to give her more time to relax, but nothing seemed to help. I started to worry that maybe I had done something wrong. I racked my brain, trying to think of any way I might have upset her. Had I been neglecting her needs? Was I not supportive enough of her career? I tried to be more attentive, surprising her with her favorite takeout or planning date nights, but nothing seemed to bridge the growing gap between us. As Sarah pulled away, I found myself spending more time with Emma. She'd often come over when Sarah was working late, and we'd watch movies or play board games. Emma was a good listener, and I found myself confiding in her about my concerns regarding Sarah. She always seemed sympathetic, offering words of encouragement and assuring me that Sarah probably just needed some time. I remember one night in particular. Sarah had called to say she'd be working late again. Emma came over with a pizza, and we settled in to watch a movie. Halfway through, I broke down, admitting how lost and confused I felt about my marriage. Emma put her arm around me, comforting me as I cried. Looking back, I wonder if this was part of their plan all along. Last week, everything came to a head. I came home early from work, hoping to surprise Sarah with dinner. I had stopped by her favorite Italian restaurant and picked up her usual order, eggplant parmesan with extra garlic bread. When I walked in, I found her and Emma in deep conversation on the couch. They didn't notice me at first, and I overheard Emma say, "You need to tell him, Sarah. This has gone on long enough." When they saw me, Sarah burst into tears. Emma quickly excused herself, leaving us alone. Sarah then confessed everything. For the past 3 months, she had been paying Emma to flirt with me and test my loyalty. Sarah had convinced herself that I was cheating, despite having no evidence. She said she'd noticed me looking at other women and thought I seemed distant. Instead of talking to me about her concerns, she hatched this plan with Emma. Emma had been instructed to text me flirtatious messages, invite me out for drinks, and even accidentally send revealing photos. Sarah had hoped to catch me in the act of betraying her, but Emma had been reporting back that I never reciprocated her advances and always steered conversations back to Sarah. I was stunned. I couldn't believe that my wife, the person I trusted most in the world, had set up such an elaborate scheme to test me. And I was hurt that Emma, who I considered a friend, had gone along with it. All those movie nights, all those conversations where I'd opened up about my marriage, had they all been part of this twisted plan? Sarah begged for forgiveness, saying she realized now how wrong she had been. She promised to work on her trust issues and make things right. But I don't know if I can move past this betrayal. I've been staying at Jack's place for the past few days, trying to clear my head. Sarah keeps calling and texting, pleading for another chance. She's left tearful voicemails, sent long emails explaining herself, even showed up at my office with flowers. Emma reached out too, apologizing for her role in the deception. She claims she only went along with it to keep an eye on the situation and try to talk Sarah out of it. I'm at a loss. I love Sarah, but I don't know if I can trust her again. The fact that she would go to such lengths instead of just talking to me has shaken me to my core. And now I feel like I've lost not just my wife, but also a friend in Emma. Every time I close my eyes, I see Sarah and Emma on that couch, plotting behind my back. I keep replaying every interaction I've had with Emma over the past few months, wondering what was real and what was part of their scheme. I miss Max. I wonder if he misses me too, or if he's confused about why I'm not coming home. Sarah sent me a picture of him yesterday, curled up on my side of the bed. It broke my heart. Part of me wants to forgive Sarah, to try and salvage our marriage. We've been through so much together, built a life together. The thought of throwing it all away is devastating. But another part of me doesn't know if I can ever look at her the same way again. How can I trust that she won't do something like this again the next time she has doubts? Am I overreacting? Should I give Sarah another chance? Or is this betrayal too big to overcome? How do I even begin to rebuild trust after something like this? Update. 1. It's been 2 weeks since my last post, and a lot has happened. First, I want to thank everyone for their support and advice. It's been incredibly helpful to have an outside perspective on this situation. After taking some time to process everything, I decided to meet with Sarah to hear her out fully. We met at a neutral location, a quiet cafe near our apartment called the Blue Teapot. It's where we used to go for Sunday brunch in the early days of our relationship. Sitting there now, surrounded by happy couples and families, felt surreal. Sarah arrived before me. When I walked in, I saw her sitting at our usual table by the window. She looked terrible, like she hadn't slept in days. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and she was wearing an old college sweatshirt of mine. As soon as she saw me, she burst into tears. Over the next 2 hours, Sarah poured her heart out. She explained that her trust issues stemmed from her past relationships. Her first serious boyfriend in college, a guy named Ryan, had cheated on her repeatedly. She caught him in bed with her roommate during their sophomore year. After that, she had trouble trusting anyone. Her next relationship, with a coworker named Mark, ended when she caught him sexting with another colleague. Sarah said she never fully dealt with these betrayals, instead carrying that baggage into our relationship. Sarah admitted that she had started seeing signs of cheating where there were none. A late night at work became an affair in her mind. A friendly conversation with a female colleague at a work event transformed into flirting. She said she knew logically that I wasn't the type to cheat, but her fears overwhelmed her rational thinking. When she first had the idea to ask Emma to test me, Sarah said she thought it would finally put her fears to rest. She convinced herself that when I didn't respond to Emma's advances, she'd feel secure in our relationship again. But as the weeks went by and I continued to be faithful, Sarah said she felt worse, not better. She realized that her actions were destroying our relationship, but she didn't know how to stop. I listened to all of this, trying to understand her perspective. While I could sympathize with her past hurts, I told her that her actions were still inexcusable. I explained how deeply her lack of trust had hurt me, and how betrayed I felt not just by her, but by Emma as well. Sarah broke down again, apologizing over and over. She said she'd give anything to take it back, to go back to how we were before. She talked about our wedding day, about the vows we'd made to each other. She reminded me of all the good times we'd had, our road trips, our lazy Sunday mornings with Max, the way we'd always been able to make each other laugh. Speaking of Emma, I also learned more about her involvement. According to Sarah, Emma had initially refused to participate in the plan. She thought it was a terrible idea and urged Sarah to talk to me instead. But Sarah had pleaded with her, playing on their sisterly bond and Emma's protective nature. Emma finally agreed, but only on the condition that she would report everything honestly and try to convince Sarah to come clean. Sarah showed me some of the text exchanges between her and Emma. I saw messages where Emma repeatedly told Sarah to stop the plan, that it was hurting everyone involved. There were also messages where Emma reported on our interactions, always emphasizing my loyalty and love for Sarah. I'm still processing how I feel about Emma's role in all of this. While I understand she was in a difficult position, I wish she had reached out to me directly instead of participating in the deception. The thought of all those times I confided in her about my marriage troubles, not knowing she was part of the problem, makes me feel sick. As for Sarah and me, we're at a crossroads. She's begging for another chance, promising to get professional help for her trust issues and to work on our communication. She's already made an appointment with a therapist and has offered to give me complete access to her phone and social media accounts as a sign of transparency. Part of me wants to try again. We've built a life together, and until this incident, I thought we were happy. I think about Max, about the family we'd planned to start. I remember the way Sarah used to look at me, with so much love and trust. I wonder if we can ever get back to that place. But another part of me doesn't know if I can ever fully trust her again. Every time my phone buzzes, I wonder if Sarah is checking up on me. When I'm at work, I find myself wanting to document my whereabouts, just in case she accuses me of something. It's exhausting, and I don't know if I can live like this long term. For now, I've decided to extend my stay at Jack's place. I told Sarah I need more time to think about what I want. She was disappointed, but said she understands and will respect my need for space. She's agreed to communicate only through text for now, unless it's an emergency. I visited our apartment to pick up some more clothes and to see Max. It was hard being there, surrounded by reminders of our life together. Max was ecstatic to see me, jumping all over me and whining when I had to leave. Sarah was out at her therapy appointment, which I was grateful for. I'm not sure I could have handled seeing her in our home. I'm still unsure about what to do next. The thought of ending our marriage breaks my heart. But so does the idea of always wondering if I'm being tested or mistrusted. I'm considering suggesting a trial separation while Sarah works on her issues, but I'm not sure if that's the right move. My friends are divided on what I should do. Jack thinks I should leave Sarah, saying that trust is fundamental and can't be rebuilt once it's broken like this. But my other friend, Mia, thinks I should give Sarah another chance, pointing out that she came clean on her own and is taking steps to address her issues. I find myself cycling through different emotions: anger, sadness, confusion, even moments of longing for how things used to be. I'm trying to take care of myself through all of this. I've started going to the gym more regularly and have been writing in a journal to process my thoughts. Any advice on how to proceed would be greatly appreciated. Has anyone been in a similar situation? Were you able to rebuild trust, or was the betrayal too much to overcome? Update 2. It's been about a month since my last update, and I wanted to share some developments. After much soul-searching and several long conversations with Sarah, I've decided to file for divorce. This wasn't an easy decision, but I believe it's the right one for me. The turning point came when I had a heart-to-heart conversation with Emma. She reached out, wanting to apologize in person for her role in Sarah's scheme. We met at a local park where Sarah and I used to walk Max. It felt strange being there without him. Emma looked nervous as she approached. She started by apologizing profusely, saying she never meant to hurt me. Then she shared some information that solidified my decision to end my marriage. According to Emma, this wasn't the first time Sarah had asked her to test me. Apparently, about 6 months into our marriage, Sarah had convinced herself that I was flirting with a new coworker named Jess. She had asked Emma to befriend this woman and try to get information about our relationship. Emma had refused outright that time, thinking it was just a moment of insecurity that would pass. Emma also revealed that Sarah had installed a tracking app on my phone without my knowledge. She had used this to monitor my whereabouts for months, often texting Emma to check up on me if I deviated from my usual routines. Emma showed me some of these text exchanges, and it made my skin crawl to see how closely Sarah had been monitoring me. There was more. Sarah had apparently been going through my emails and text messages regularly. She'd even gone as far as to create fake social media profiles to try and catch me accepting friend requests from attractive women. Hearing all of this, I realized that Sarah's trust issues ran much deeper than I had initially thought. The level of deception and invasion of privacy was staggering. It made me question every aspect of our relationship, how much of it was real, and how much was Sarah constantly looking for signs of betrayal. I confronted Sarah with this new information. At first, she tried to deny it, but when I pressed her, she broke down and admitted everything. She begged me not to leave her, promising again to get help and change. She talked about how much progress she'd made in therapy, how she was learning to manage her anxiety and trust issues. But I realized that I couldn't stay in this relationship. The trust between us was completely shattered, and I didn't think I had it in me to try to rebuild it. The constant suspicion and testing had taken a toll on my mental health, and I knew I needed to prioritize my own well-being. I told Sarah about my decision to file for divorce. She was devastated, alternating between tears and anger. She accused me of giving up on our marriage too easily, but I stood firm. I explained that her actions had fundamentally changed how I viewed her and our relationship, and that I couldn't see a way forward together. The past week has been a whirlwind of logistics, finding a lawyer, starting to separate our finances, and looking for a new place to live. It's been emotionally draining, but I also feel a sense of relief. For the first time in months, I don't feel like I'm walking on eggshells or being watched. One of the hardest parts was figuring out what to do about Max. We both love him dearly, and the thought of separating him from either of us is heartbreaking. For now, we've agreed to a sort of joint custody arrangement. I'll take him on weekends, and Sarah will keep him during the week. It's not ideal, but it's the best we could come up with for now. I've found a small apartment not far from my office. It's nothing fancy, but it's a place to call my own. I've been slowly moving my things in, trying to make it feel like home. It's strange, starting over like this. I keep reaching for things that aren't there, expecting to see Sarah's things mixed in with mine. My friends have been incredibly supportive through all of this. Jack has been helping me move, and Mia has been checking in on me regularly. They've been a lifeline during this difficult time. I know the road ahead won't be easy. Ending a marriage is never simple, and there's a part of me that still loves Sarah. But I'm trying to focus on the future and on rebuilding my life. I've started seeing a therapist of my own to work through everything that's happened. As for Emma, our relationship is complicated. While I appreciate her finally coming clean, I'm still hurt by her initial participation in Sarah's scheme. We've agreed to keep our distance for now, which I think is best for everyone involved. It's sad to think about losing her friendship, but I don't see how we can move past this. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Thank you all again for your support throughout this difficult time. Update 3. It's been 3 months since I filed for divorce, and I wanted to give a final update on the situation. The divorce process is moving forward. Sarah initially contested it, but after a few meetings with our lawyers, she agreed to an uncontested divorce. We're currently working out the details of asset division and hope to have everything finalized in the next few months. Living apart from Sarah has given me a lot of clarity. I've realized how much energy I was spending trying to prove my loyalty and how that was affecting my mental health. Since moving out, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I'm sleeping better, I'm more focused at work, and I've started reconnecting with friends I had unintentionally neglected. My new apartment is starting to feel like home. I've hung up some artwork, bought a few plants, which I'm trying not to kill, and even started cooking for myself more often. It's not always easy, but there's a sense of freedom in creating my own space. The arrangement with Max has been working out okay. It's hard only seeing him on weekends, but those days have become the highlight of my week. We go for long walks in the park, play fetch in my small backyard, and curl up on the couch to watch movies. He seems to be adjusting well, though sometimes I catch him looking at the door, as if expecting Sarah to walk in. Sarah has started seeing a therapist to work on her trust issues. While I'm glad she's getting help, I know it's not my responsibility to support her through this process. We're maintaining minimal contact, communicating only about divorce-related matters and arrangements for Max. It's strange how someone who was once the center of my world has become almost a stranger. There have been moments of doubt and sadness. The other day, I came across our wedding album while sorting through some boxes. Seeing those photos, how happy and in love we looked, was a punch to the gut. But I reminded myself of everything that's happened and why I made this decision. As for Emma, we had one final conversation where we both agreed that it was best to cut ties completely. While I understand she was in a difficult position, her actions contributed to the breakdown of my marriage. It's too painful to maintain a friendship with her. Losing both Sarah and Emma has been hard, but I know it's necessary for me to move forward. I've started to tentatively dip my toe back into the dating pool. Nothing serious yet, but it's been nice to meet new people and remember that there's life after divorce. I'm being upfront about my recent experiences, which has led to some interesting conversations about trust and communication in relationships. Work has been a welcome distraction through all of this. I've thrown myself into a new project, which has been challenging but rewarding. My boss has been understanding about the occasional need to take time off for lawyer meetings or therapy appointments. Looking back, I can see red flags that I missed or chose to ignore in my relationship with Sarah. It's been a hard lesson, but I'm grateful for what I've learned about myself and what I need in a partner. I know now that trust and open communication are non-negotiable for me. There are still tough days. Holidays and anniversaries are particularly difficult. But overall, I feel like I'm moving in the right direction. I'm learning to enjoy my own company, to build a life that's entirely my own. To those who suggested I was overreacting or that I should have tried harder to save my marriage, I appreciate your perspective, but I stand by my decision. Trust is fundamental in a relationship, and Sarah's actions went far beyond a momentary lapse in judgment. Thank you all for your support throughout this journey. Your advice and encouragement have been invaluable. While this isn't the outcome I ever imagined for my marriage, I'm hopeful about what the future holds.